Imagine a world where instead of Roman Reigns, it's actually Dean Ambrose being pushed as the top face in WWE. Got your eyes closed, you're imagining it. It looks wonderful, right? It just everything looks so amazing, right? Okay, well now open your eyes and realize that that is the fucking world that we're living in because I looked at this past episode of Monday Night Raw, judging that by last week and Roman Reigns interacting with Triple H, Dean Ambrose interacting with Triple H. Is it just me? Am I the only one that's confused as to who's main eventing WrestleMania here?
Well, yeah, I mean, considering Roman wasn't even here, it's a little bit of a strange show. The whole show just had an off feeling, I think, from the onset, and the way that the crowd was reacting at the end of the show. I do think that they were reacting in a way that was evident that Dean Ambrose is somebody that they may like more. But also, I do attribute it to the fact that they were probably so zoned out from 2.5 hours of whatever the show was before that. So, I mean, I do think there's a little bit of a debate there in that regard. But, yeah, it's weird that we didn't even so much as get maybe a from-home type of promo from Roman Reigns. I think that would have been really nice to have.
See, I don't know. Like, there have been times where, and I'm thinking back to that entry that Roman Reigns had where they had those medical updates, and that just gave me a very bad flashback right there. Those were a fucking hot mess. Like,
and so they were. But since the reason why I'm arguing for it is because he's going for the WWE title at WrestleMania, and I think with that huge event coming up here, that him being there just even to give some sort of update would have been more effective than him not being there at all. But, I mean, I do appreciate that they sold the injury because he did get brutally beaten down and whatnot. But
here's the reason why I say that it, like, confused me because I don't know who's main event in WrestleMania here. It's because when I looked at the way, and not even just the crowd reaction to Dean Ambrose, looking at the way in which Dean Ambrose is booked, that looked like a top face to me. I don't know what the fuck happened with Roman Reigns last week, but he looked like a scrub. And Dean Ambrose this week, I mean, they enriched the guy's character, everything that he did, or most of what he did, it made sense. And there's just something that felt right about what it is that I saw with Dean Ambrose this week versus what I saw with Roman Reigns last week. And I can't exactly put my finger on it, but it's just weird to me, and it goes past the level of incompetence to where WWE just doesn't know what they're doing.
I think
let's dispel this notion that WWE doesn't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
I think I know what that thing is you're trying to pinpoint, Jay. It's that with Roman Reigns not being there, there's nobody that Dean Ambrose is intentionally or unintentionally overshadowing. Because the long-standing criticism is that Dean Ambrose is overshadowing Roman Reigns when we're trying to put him in the main event here. And what I saw last night, what I think most of us saw last night, is that there was no forcing of Ambrose, and he was actually standing up to authority. And even if he was trying to get the crowd to laugh at some of the things he was trying to say, they were at least invested in him. And we didn't get any boos. We didn't get any Roman Reigns chants inserted where he wasn't needed. And I kind of felt like Dean Ambrose giving some gusto and really standing up to authority and getting in Triple H's face is something we haven't seen from him. So he wasn't positioned to just be a goofball. He wasn't positioned to just be, an erratic maniac that's doing whatever he can to get the attention on him. He actually seems like a main event player who's attempting to grab something he wants.
As far as how Roman Reigns relates to all of this, like, I look at what they did with him in the build-up to Fastlane, and I look how he was marginalized in that build, and they told so much of the story with Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, and I look at what happened on Monday Night Raw this week and then what happened last week. I'm wondering, like, if you want to bring the crowd into this, like, everything that I said, it's completely separate from the crowd. Like, I felt like Dean Ambrose was a fucking top star on Raw as opposed to Roman Reigns being a bum or being booked like a bum last week. If we do enter the crowd into this, I'm wondering, is this WWE encouraging the crowd to act this way towards Roman Reigns, or is this them acknowledging it? Either way, I don't think it helps him at all, because it's like, I know they know the crowd is not on board with Roman Reigns, but it's like I don't feel as if they're attempting to do anything about it.
Well, and the thing is, whenever they decide to bring out the qualities in Roman Reigns that work most effectively, then that isn't really a problem. But they did that with Dean Ambrose. But I do think that another reason for this is because Dean Ambrose is more dynamic. Plain and simple, there's more to Dean Ambrose. And I am a Roman Reigns fan, but Ambrose has way more to bring to the table as far as I'm concerned. I think Roman Reigns is a lot more one-dimensional. Can they expand upon that one dimension and make it feel like it's big? Absolutely. And one-dimensional characters can work, but I think that the fear that was invoked in many people in early 2015 with the whole, oh my god, he's going to be John Cena 2.0, is still bothering so many people to this day. And it's not exactly easy to wipe that slate clean, so to speak, and just instantly make everyone who was worried about that just forget about it, because he's still in the main event. He's still going toward WrestleMania. They've really dropped the ball in a lot of ways with him. They booked him a lot better the last half of 2015 than they did the first half, but it's still can use a lot of work. We don't see the best of Roman Reigns frequently. We did see the best of Dean Ambrose on Raw this week.
See, when you say that Roman Reigns is one-dimensional, I vehemently disagree with that, because I don't think he's one-dimensional at all. It's all about the way in which WWE chooses to portray him, and for some reason, like, it's just very hard to wrap my head around the fact that they're so incompetent with wanting to push someone as a top face of the company, because we've seen dimensions to Roman Reigns, and interestingly enough, they come when he's interacting with Dean Ambrose. He can be the type of cool guy. He can actually crack jokes and have fun and be that laid-back, cool-hand Luke type person. Then we could actually see him be mad, be enraged. So there are a lot of things that Roman Reigns actually can do, but for some reason, like, I don't know, like, this whole crowd thing, when you take that into consideration, is WWE acknowledging the crowd by the way that they book Roman Reigns, or are they encouraging the crowd to react to the Roman Reigns in the way that they do? And I don't have an answer to that question, and it's like, it's driving me crazy.
I couldn't fathom that they would be encouraging the crowd to boo the person they want to put in the position they're putting Reigns in.
Did you see that segment from last week? You saw that segment.
Of course, where Triple H beat Roman Reigns to a bloody pulp.
And hell, me being a Roman Reigns fan, I sat there and said, Triple H, this is the most fucking amazing dude on the planet. Like, I love this guy. That was awesome. Like, I didn't even want to be a mark and boo him for what happened, because it was so great.
I'd have to agree that it was very good. The thing is, maybe I'm falling into the incompetence category here, but I can't fathom that you would want to intentionally create your top star in a, you would not want to put him in a light where he's going to be overshadowed or booed, and he's not going to be accepted. Once you get that brand of Cena, Superman Reigns, it's really hard to wipe away that label from that character. And so, unfortunately, I'd like to think that this is just WWE acknowledging the fact that the crowd doesn't accept Reigns, and they're going to pay it off with, unfortunately, Reigns is going to sort of bigger heights, become the champion, and we're just going to have to accept it, and whether we like it or not.
Yeah, and the other thing I think too, to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, I think that if they have Seth Rollins return and go back into the title picture, say against Roman Reigns, and assuming he's champion, then you're creating another situation where Seth Rollins is now going to be the babyface, even though he had been the heel before. And obviously, I've already said before that I think when Rollins comes back, he should be a face. He's going to be a face by default, whether people want him to be or not, because everyone's going to cheer because one of their favorite in-ring performers is back in the company, and Reigns is just going to get booed even more. So they're almost going to have to just go with the heel turn once he becomes champion. I really think that that's the best option, because it's like, how do you save what's already doesn't seem very savable.
And we have a comment from Baby Bell 32A in the chat saying, people like Dean, but on the night, Dean was presented as a babyface and Triple H as a mean heel. That's a big difference from last week. And once again, I'll say, that can't be incompetence. It can't be. How could that possibly be? Like, oh shit, we did this and we had no idea that the crowd was going to react in that way. I refuse to believe
stepping on eggshells. Maybe it isn't incompetence, but it's a failure to go ahead and pull the trigger when it needs to be pulled.
This is WrestleMania motherfucking season. If now is not the time to pull the trigger, I don't know when. Like, I cannot tell you how pissed off this makes me, the way that they're booking Roman Reigns, where it's like they try to hide him from the crowd, but still, the booking just continues pushing forward. The guy is main eventing his second WrestleMania in a row. Main eventing for the championship. Like, if now's not the time to flip the switch, then when is the time? Like, how many times are we going to have to go through this situation with Roman Reigns and the way in which he's portrayed on TV, to where it's basically like, I don't even know what the hell they're attempting to accomplish. I don't know what they're actually accomplishing with the way that they book Roman Reigns, because it's like, you're not winning over anybody who doesn't like him, and people like me who are fans, I'm sitting here wondering what the hell is going on. Like, so what are you doing here?
Yeah, and the thing is, I think this Raw here, like, to make a general statement, it made me care more about Dean Ambrose and forget more about Roman Reigns. And that's not a thing that I should be feeling if Roman Reigns is the guy going into WrestleMania. That's not a good sign at all. And I mean, I think that the focus is going to end up back on Roman Reigns next week during that, you know, title match and whatever. But still, this episode of Raw just made me realize how great Dean Ambrose really is. And it made me just say, oh yeah, Roman Reigns is the one who's actually in the main event. And that's why seeing him in some way, shape, or form, I think it wasn't going to do a whole lot of extra, but it may have at least helped me be like, all right, well, Roman's still in it in some way, shape, or form. Even if he came up on the Titantron.
I totally get that now.
Yeah, like if he came up on the Titantron when Triple H was beating the crap out of Ambrose at the end of Raw and said, you'll pay for this, or even just something to make you like realize that Reigns is still in it to win it here. That's what
just to remind us of the fact that this dude still exists, because it's like, if you take away somebody that we didn't even want him to be there in the first place, and then you give us an option, you give us an alternative, and the fucking alternative is better than the first choice. It's like, okay, do I want Roman Reigns to come back? Do I want him to get revenge? Like, so
you can't sacrifice aggression at the cost of continuity for an angle.